This lesson is going to be a challenge lesson where you're going to take the nav tag and the unordered list that's contained within there and apply and create this and turn it into a navigation bar. So transform this unordered list into a fully functional navigation bar where you can also apply the hover styling. So whenever you're hovering over it, it's changing the background color as well as it making it look more like a navigation bar. And apply what you learned in the last lesson as well as the previous lessons and make those changes, and I'll walk you through how you can transform this into a navigation bar. So when you are creating this navigation bar, you don't have to have the exact same colors or the exact same sizing, but as long as you've got a navigation bar effect, I tried to keep it in a grayscale where the default state is going to be black. When I hover over it, it gives it more of a gray color. I'm keeping the font as white. But again, you can apply the various styling that you've learned in the earlier lessons and apply it to your navigation bar to make it look even better. So going into the HTML page, so we're going to link out, and this is that same HTML document that we were working with in the last lesson. So you can use that, or you can just simply create your own navigation bar with unordered list and list items. I already have it linked to the style sheet, the style CSS. So first, let's select the navigation bar. And in case we do have some other unordered lists that are outside of a navigation bar, we don't want to just simply select the unordered list. And if you selected unordered list and list items, that's okay as well. But do keep in mind that you do need to be more specific with the selectors as your website grows. So first, we select the unordered list. And the first thing we want to do is update the list style type and set that to be none. So we want to get rid of those bullet points from the unordered list. So that gets rid of those. And we also want to remove out the padding and the margin. So in case there are any padding or default padding or margin values, it's going to affect the way that our navigation bar is going to look. And I'm also going to be selecting the parent, so just the nav bar itself. And it already has a width of 100%, but just to be sure, add in the width of 100% to it. And also let's set a background color so that we can distinguish it from the rest of the screen. And you can select any background color you want. In this case, I'm going to keep it fairly grayscale, and I'll do a dark gray color for the background of the navigation bar. And also let's specify a height for the navigation bar. So I'm going to set it to be 70 pixels. So let's do a refresh, and there's our navigation bar. But these elements, these list items, are still stacked vertically, so we need to make updates to that still. So going back into the editor, we've selected the background for the nav bar, the background color, the height of it, and the width of it. Also the navigation bar, the unordered list, we've removed out the bullet points and any additional padding or margins that might be present in the navigation bar. Now we're ready to move on to the list items. And this is really where all the magic happens, selecting the nav, unordered list items as our selector, and selecting the display value to be inline block. And as we saw in the last lesson, this is going to transform it to horizontal. How about we also add in a width for the list items, and we'll set the width to be 200 pixels. Let's do a quick refresh. So now they're nice and neatly aligned. And the content is contained within the anchor tags. So selecting the nav, unordered list items that have anchor tags. Apply the text decoration of none, so we don't have any underlines within the navigation bar. We're going to display these elements as block elements. And the parent is inline block, so it's going to keep these within the inline structure. Let's do a text align, so we center the text. And go back out and do a refresh. So now we've got the text centered. I'll add a color of white for the text and a background color for the element. And how about we just make it black? So that's our navigation bar. We also might want to apply some height to the anchor text. So now we've got some height for those elements. And we'll also do a line height so that we can align the text that's contained within those elements. And one last one is we need to apply the hover effect. So let's take the anchor text and apply the pseudo class for the hover state. And whenever it gets hovered, we want to update the background color and setting it to a dim gray color. Let's see what that looks like. So whenever we hover over, we've got the dim gray color. And I'm also going to update the font family to be Arial for the navigation bar. So there we go. We've created a simple navigation bar and applied what we've learned in the earlier lessons.